My name is Manny Espitia. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm the Northern Regional Director here at Run for Something. As the Northern Regional Director, I help candidates all over the Northeast get them started on their campaigns, whether that's, figuring out where to start with fundraising, whether it's figuring out how many doors they should knock, things like that. I help advise candidates and help them figure out some of the ropes on how to run for office. And I'm really excited to be joining y'all today to be talking about one of my favorite things, and that is raising money. So I want to take a quick step back and say I actually ran for office myself. Back in 2018, I ran for state representative and actually got elected and served 2 terms. And I was actually endorsed also by Run for Something before I worked there. And I love the work that our organization does to help young people run for office. But I will say I had worked on campaigns before, but running for office was a whole new experience and something I was, frankly, just new to, and something that it was very vulnerable for me, but it's something that I'm very thankful for. It's an experience I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I was able to serve the people of New Hampshire, specifically the people of Nashua. So, and one of the most important parts of actually running for office is learning how to do fundraising. And because I think a lot of the times people get worried and they get nervous, they say, "Oh, fundraising I don't want to have to pay for this whole race. I don't have the money to," and that's okay. You shouldn't have to fund your own race. This isn't the thing about fundraising is that so many of us have done fundraising one way or another in the past, whether that's, maybe in grade school, selling chocolate bars, or maybe, through the Girl Scouts or through some program. Some of us have engaged in fundraising, and it can seem daunting. I totally know myself that it was one of those things where it's like, oh no, I don't, this may seem like a lot. But in all honesty, it's something that you can break through. It's something that once you start doing it, it actually becomes a lot easier. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about how to demystify the process and how to get started on it. So and before I even get into that part, I will say, a lot of the time, a lot of us think, what are the words or feelings that come to mind when you think of fundraising? You think, oh, all right, I'm gonna be asking people. Sometimes I think maybe, there's gonna be this big number. Some people think, oh, fundraising, there's events. So I'm gonna give y'all just a quick second to think about that. But fundraising doesn't have to be something that is out of your realm. It's something that a lot of people do, and a lot of the time candidates do it. And when I want to say, I want to be clear with everyone, when you think of running for office and you think about raising money, people are going to be investing in you. They might be given to you because you might be their friend or something, or a family member. But a lot of the time, people are going to give because they like your message. And that is what people did for me. They said, Manny, I love that you're running on the fact that you want to keep workers safe. Or we love the fact that you're running to raise the minimum wage. Or the fact that they said, Manny, there are not enough Latinos in the state house, and we need more people like you. So here's $15, here's $20, here's $100. Please go out and be that person for your community, be that voice for your community. So when you're thinking about raising money, you might think, oh, people might be doing this because they like me or something. It's a lot more than that. They believe in your vision and they believe in your message. So don't worry too much. So the first thing I want to talk about is framing your mindset. Like I said, and we just kind of went over that a little bit. We went over, having that idea of all right, I don't have to do this alone. I'm not going to pay for all my entire campaign. One of the beautiful things about running for local office as well is that you're not running for Congress. You don't have to raise $100,000, $200,000. If you're running for local office, you're most likely going to be raising a lot less than that. You're going to be able to raise enough money, maybe a few $1,000s, which, like I said, can be doable. So first, you're not asking for money for yourself, like I mentioned earlier. You're going to be asking people for money on behalf of your vision of the shared future of a better community. So think of it that way. No, when I was running, they gave because they loved my message. They might give also because of you, but and those might be the easier asks. But think of it because they are actually giving because they care about your community. And then the other thing is a lot of folks, they want to be helpful. They want to help you out. They say, oh, you're running for the first time. Think like they might have been the ones who asked you, especially if you were asked to run. You should go back to those people and say, you know what? Donating to your campaign is one of those opportunities that people can do to help support you in your run. So don't take that away. Don't take that opportunity away. Make sure you cash in on it. Literally, make sure that folks know that this is one way that they can actually help you in your quest to run. The second thing we want to talk about is setting your goal. So, we want to make sure that that fundraising number makes sense for your race. So for example, if you're running, I'm going to use the example of my run for state rep. So I knew that in the past, people who had run for the seat had only actually raised maybe close to $2,000. And so I had done a little bit of research. I went to my local officials, local election officials, and looked at the previous financial disclosures, which actually, taking a step back, that is one of the things y'all should always do is make sure that you know the rules of your race. So make sure you take either call your Secretary of State office, or if you're running for local office, check in and see what the contribution limits are, when those disclosures are due, just to make sure that you're staying up to date, because you want to make sure that those things don't fall by the wayside. Those are incredibly important things. You want to know the rules, and you want to make sure that you do all the things in time. But after that, so know how much the race costs. So when I was running for state rep, I knew that people had raised around maybe $1,000 to $2,000. In New Hampshire, there's about 400 of us, so it doesn't cost a lot to actually run for office here. So I told myself, okay, I don't have to set a budget of like maybe 25 or 30,000. I told myself I have to raise $2,000. Okay, boom, locked in. So and that made sense within what other people had done. So I told myself, all right, I am gonna make a plan and budget to see how much what I'm gonna spend that money on. So I said, all right, I'm gonna obviously do some of these palm cards. I'm sure a lot of y'all people have seen them. These cards that people leave behind after you've knocked on their door, because to me that was a priority. It was to make sure I knocked on doors so that people knew who I was. If they had any questions, that I was able to answer them. So but I wanted to leave behind something, a glossy little palm card, so that folks remembered, oh, this is Manny. I'm voting for him on November 6th. And he is fighting for raising the minimum wage, creating paid family medical leave, and keeping workers safe. Boom, 1, 2, 3. Those are my top 3 issues. People would know. If they turn it on the back, they would be able to see my Facebook page, things like that. So I was going to be like, all right, so this is going to cost X amount of money. I want to do a mail piece so people get it in the mail as well. That's going to cost another part of money. And then all things combined, it would cost about $2,000. So I said, okay, these all make sense. So if I had extra money, if I raised more than $2,000, I could maybe spend more money on digital and social media, so people could see me on their social media platform, things like that. So you want to create a finance plan. You want to say, okay, if I want to buy yard signs, for example, I know that I have to buy them by X date, so I have to raise that money by X date. Creating that finance plan is creating that budget, and then creating a timeline, and then knowing, okay, I don't have to raise $2,000 by tomorrow, but I know that this mail piece is going to cost around, I'm going to just guess, $800. So I'm going to need $800 by October, things like that. So making sure that you have timeline, that budget, it all aligns in a finance plan so that you can actually execute on that plan. And like I said, finance plans are living documents. So let's say I, outraised it and I raised $3,000 or $4,000, I would be able to spend money elsewhere. So it's always a living document, and you can always change it. If I was falling short, I would say, oh, maybe I can't afford to do a mail piece, adjust it that way. So making sure that those adjust accordingly. And then also you want to establish a system early to collect money, whether that's a platform. There's platforms like ActBlue, there's folks like Anecdote, but just making sure that you have a platform where you can actually track that money that comes in, and track your progress. So those are like some of the early things you want to build a foundation for. And then you want to, now that I told myself, all right, I need $2,000 to run for state rep. How am I going to raise it? And I've made my bank account. I got I have my banking information. I have my ActBlue link. I'm ready to go. What do I do? So the first thing I'm going to tell everyone to do, and I've told hundreds of candidates to do this, is you want to Rolodex yourself. You're going to want to take your phone out. You're going to want to look through all the contacts. If you can, you want to download them into a CSV, so into a spreadsheet basically, and you want to list out all the names that you have A through Z. Now, starting with the letter A, if I had my friend Angel, what I would do is I would go have this spreadsheet. So you have Angel. I would have an ask amount that would assign to Angel. So me and Angel went to college together. We're friends, but we haven't talked in a while. So I think probably can't ask him for too much, maybe $25. And like I said, I hadn't talked to him in a while, so it's probably gonna be a little bit, not the easiest call, but not a tough call. So I probably, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being an easy call, 5 being a very difficult, probably can't call that person, probably a 2. So boom, 2. And going all the way down to Z, Zoe. She's my wife's sister. She's somebody who has been there for us through thick and thin. I have a lot of faith that she would give to me. So Zoe, I think she'd give me 100, and I think she would be an easy call 1. So go through all of those people, assign them an ask amount, assign them how easy and difficult that call will be on a scale 1 to 5. And then and that is your list. That is your list of people that that's like early supporters that you think you can actually raise money off of. And honestly, this list is going to expand. It's going to get bigger as your campaign tends to grow. And this list is also your list of volunteers. This is your list of folks who may be able to help your campaign in other ways. And this is also your strong email newsletter list. So boom, this is a very powerful thing. And you can do this at any time. If you want to run for office, maybe in a few years, you can take this list and start building it now. So it's one of those things that you should be really intentional about, and that you should honestly really don't take for granted. It is a very powerful tool. And then once you add it all up, you look at the ask amounts, you can see, I was like, oh, you know what? This $2,000 figure, it is not that difficult. I probably have to call about 50 people maybe total to get there. That's doable. I can sit down and do that. So now that you have this list, you have the phone numbers too, you have their contact information, you have their email as well. And it doesn't just have to be your phone. It can be things like LinkedIn, it can be Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, things like that. You can look on, you basically just try to get as much information of your network as possible and build it and make this list. So now that you have this list, you have your ActBlue, you have your campaign account. All right, now it's time to sit down. It's time to actually do the work of raising money. So what I like to do first is, I would like to take a little bit of time, make a script, and something really easy. Don't overcomplicate it. Say, hey, this is Manny. Is Angel home? Hey, Angel, or just leave it blank. it's been a while. Thank you so much for taking my call. I wanted to let you know I'm running for state representative here in New Hampshire. Uh, I'm running on the issues of raising the minimum wage, paid family medical leave, and worker safety. I know that we've been good friends and would love your support. Can I count on you for $25? Boom, that is a script. That is a template. That is, have it in front of you just so while you're making calls, you're like, all right, I have something in case, because it's really easy to be like, especially when you make your first call, to kind of fumble over yourself. So, take that time, make a little script for yourself, have it handy, and then look at your calendar. Say, okay, I have, I have 2 hours free or on Tuesday. So I'm gonna, so make that time on your calendar, set it aside, make sure it's uninterrupted. If you have, if your partner, husband or wife if they can pick up the kids or something like that, say, okay, cool, can you handle that? But make sure that time is uninterrupted. And that you won't have anything else going on at that time. So make sure it is blocked off. And I would also say, raising money is is similar to running, I'm training for a marathon right now. I will tell you, if you asked me to run 26 miles right now, it would be very difficult for me to do. But if you ask me to run, 10 miles, I could do that. But that's because I've trained. I've taken weeks and weeks of running to get me to that level. So, and I'm sure I will be able to run this marathon by the end of the year. But it's going to be because I kept practicing and practicing and practicing. So similar to that, raising money is like a muscle. While I would love everyone to be able to sit down for 3 hours and just make all the phone calls, it's going to be tough to do in the beginning. So give yourself, build yourself some time to get up to it. So if you have an hour, start with that. 2 hours, good. So make sure, and like I said, that time is sacred. So you've created your 2 hour block. You've created your little script. If you notice, when I made that script, I had an ask in it. Can I count on you to support me in my run with a $25 donation? Boom, simple. And after I ask Angel for that amount, I'm going to shut up. And the ball is in his court, and I'm going to wait to see if he answers. If he says yes, wonderful, thank you so much. If he says no, I get it. Can I? And then I move and pivot and ask, can I maybe ask for 10, or I wouldn't even say maybe, how about a $10 donation now, and maybe another $10 and another $10 donation next month? And then you once again sit and wait. But it is, it's about being good about pivoting and being able to say, all right, you know what? If I get a no, how do I get a yes? And if I get a yes, be thankful for that. So I say, thank you, Angel. Once he says yes to $25, I then ask him, you can do the donation information over the phone, or you can ask him, hey, is this email correct for you? Great, I'll send you an email. Thank you so much. Do not forget to thank them. Thank you so much. Looking forward to, running for state representative. And I really I couldn't do it without you. So, and once you do that, email him the link to your fundraising page, and boom, once Angel donates, follow up, thank you. A big part of it is also donor management and making sure that you follow up and say thank you for any of these things. Now, when I was running for office, I had friends who gave. I was very thankful that I was able to raise my goal and buy the things I needed to buy. But I remember saying to folks, I had my best friend who said no to me because he had an emergency situation and he couldn't afford to help me out at the time. And that's okay. That's totally fine. You move on from it and you don't take it personally. So, and then I've had people who I remember posting on my social media site, on my Facebook, and people I hadn't talked to in years donated to my cause. So you'd be surprised who helps and who comes through for you. And you learn a lot about resilience and being able to just keep pushing through. So and once you've hit your budget, you'll be doing, you'll hopefully not have to worry about this, and it'll be a great feeling. So, and these are people who, like I said, who are going to be investing in your campaign and going to be supporting you in this way. So with that, that is just the basic overview of raising money. I want to thank you for listening to me and for being attentive to this. If you want, we have another training on how to talk about the issues. Please, that's another great watch. And you can follow Run for Something. We have our website at runforsomething.net. So and we can follow us on social media as well. If you need any kind of help, that Run for Something is here to help you all out. And then I hope that if you do decide to run for office, that you apply for our endorsement, and we'd love to help you out in your run. So thank you so much. Good luck on your race, and I hope you have a wonderful day.